McDaniel, Wicker, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show today. What is your definition of integrated deterrence in the context of the people that are at this conference from the DoD, the intelligence community, and other government organizations?
Sure, I think it's a great question. It's a great topic. Integrated deterrence to me is really the ability of taking a whole of defense, a whole of government, and really multilateral approach with our allies and partners to understanding what our adversaries are doing and trying to mitigate their freedom of maneuver and prevent them from taking actions that are counter to our interest. So it's about not what the Air Force is doing or what the Army is doing or the Australians are doing, but working across domains, working across air, cyber, space, land, sea, whatever it might be, and with our friends and partners to make sure we can properly deter our enemies.
What are the key points then of the infrastructure, whether it's IT or other kinds of infrastructure, that are necessary to underpin that, to facilitate all of that?
Yeah. One of the big things that I think about and that Babel Street focuses on is the data that underpins this. Integrated deterrence really depends on having strong, robust data access. And so that means a few things. It means, one, having the depth and breadth of data. There's no one data source that is a panacea for integrated deterrence, but having the ability to reach out and have business records, identity records, being able to understand social media, deep and dark web. So that's part of it. Part of it is also making sure you have the access to the right places. Mm-hmm. If you have access to U.S. social media, well, that's great. It's a big part of integrated deterrence because we understand what the enemy might be trying to do and influence us. But being able to reach out and reach some of those harder to access data points, maybe what's going on behind the Great Firewall of China or within Russia, provides a lot more information. Mm-hmm. And then being able to understand things across languages, a language agnostic approach to data as well is really crucial, especially as we think about the challenges facing the U.S. And our allies.
I love the term language agnostic. What are the pieces that the government needs to put together to achieve that? I imagine they have some of them in place, but not all of them probably.
Yeah, language has always been a challenge, and we all wish we had more linguists. When I was in government and working as an Air Force officer, we always wanted more linguists. We wanted to be able to have someone who spoke Arabic or someone who spoke Farsi or a Chinese linguist there with us, and no one has that. It's always going to be a high demand, low resource feature. And so having tools that will enable us to cross that language barrier are essential. And some of that is being able to do rapid machine translation. Some of it is being able to deploy text analytics or language tools that allow us to understand cross-lingually and understand what names or entities or phrases or events, how they occur across languages. One of the things that Babel Street provides is a multilingual smart search. So it's a tool that allows you to use a term in any language, and we're going to provide then hundreds of representations of that in over 250 different languages. So those are the types of capabilities you have to have in order to have a language agnostic approach.
What does that require? Any kind of special infrastructure or any type of other support for a government organization to use?
Well, no, not really. And that's one of the things that's another key part of this data. The importance of data is being able to deploy at the point of need. So obviously there are some requirements around data storage or employing in certain types of hardware or environments. But we have a tailorable approach, a flexible approach. So if you want to deploy on your system, behind your firewall, on your cloud, that's great. We can deploy at the point of need there. If you want just the data itself and you have your own system, we can deliver that. Obviously, there's storage requirements that go into that. It's obviously one of the biggest challenges with data. But you can also provide a web-based tool that's a very light footprint that provides a lot of the power of this overall system. So those are some of the constraints. Other constraints, obviously, depending on how much of this data you want to crunch, what AI layers you're putting on top of it will impact the compute that's necessary. So there are some special constraints, but it's really a flexible approach where we can meet different government customers and different allies where they are.
McDaniel, Wicker, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks for your time today.